Recently, I finished writing my first ever novel, a piece of fantasy called Kolossos, and I figured it could be fun to make a video or two about the setting, the conflicts, and the history of this world that I've spent the last few years obsessing about. So, without further ado, here is an introduction to Kolossos. When a Colossus walks, it shapes the world with every step. They bring tremors, storms, and devastation. Yet their bodies are also habitats for prey and predator, places for migrating birds to rest their weary wings. Their presence alone creates climates. And to some people, they are worshipped as gods. Most civilizations used to be nomadic, walking in the footsteps of these gigantic creatures and offering sacrifices in exchange for their favor. That is, until a sedentary people known as the Taro caused the death of the Colossi. The Taro worshipped other gods, so to them, the Colossi represented nothing but disaster. One man led the charge to bring about their doom. His name is Manowar. Though once thought to be no more than a myth, he saved the mountain kingdoms by uniting them against their common enemy, forging an empire where his people could thrive, saved from the tyranny of the Colossi. How exactly the Taro managed to defeat the Colossi is a secret lost to time. But now, 500 years later, all but one of them have been buried in a desolate stretch of land, dubbed the Graveyard of Gods. The exception is the Stone Man, Manowar's greatest foe, who lay chained to a mesa in the eye of the world's largest desert, slowly withering away under the scorching sun. With his death throes, his body is said to be expelling an oasis of greenery for those bravest worshippers of his who dare make the dangerous journey to live in his shadow. This remains the only place the worshippers of the Stone Man still practice their faith without persecution. Of course, those who worship the Colossi tell the story differently. It was their way that was the righteous one. Manowar, a horned demon sent by another god, an evil god, to end their supposedly peaceful reign. Over the 500 years since Manowar founded the Taro Empire, little rebellions have sprung up against him, mostly by a people called the Ori, who live in what is now the colony of Sunsend. None have ever succeeded, so far. Whatever some of their subjects may think of it, the Taro now reigns supreme over the known world through kingdoms and colonies. In the eastern isles of Opsisus, they've enslaved the local crowfolk to harvest spices and precious silver. Meanwhile, in the homelands of Tavoye, industry booms, still largely powered by coal and steam, but also an increasing amount of crystal, an electrically charged resource harvested from the western colony of Sunsend, but which can also be found in regions like Tafale, and some say it is even more abundant in the Graveyard of Gods, although that claim is hard to prove. The area remains forbidden to enter, even for Tafale's own government, which owns the territory. After all, every kingdom remains beholden to a higher power. Ruling over them is the immortal Emperor Manowar, still on his tall throne in the opulent palace known as the House of God, after 500 years since the first Colossal Crusade. Indeed, that same horned hero of myth who forged the Taro Empire is still alive, believed by his subjects to be the son of the Father underground and the Mother in the sky, the chief deities of the Taro. But we'll discuss his long and storied life more in depth another time. Grand as it is, Manowar can hardly rule his vast empire alone. Over the course of his centuries-long reign, he has allowed a few powerful royal families to become entwined with his own. These 7 houses are known as the Children of Manowar, The original 4 were the ones who followed Manoel in his first colossal crusade. Each of these kings had daughters, who Manoel blessed with his offspring as a reward for their loyalty and performance in the war against the Stone Empire. The 3 younger houses of children ruled only petty kingdoms once, until, over the centuries, they managed to make a strong enough impression on the emperor to be blessed with his blood. In the Taro Empire, only the strongest can earn the love of God. Those who do earn that love, the royals and their knights, as well as those who have given themselves to the church, have horns surgically implanted into their skulls to signify their piousness, and to honor their god, who was born with horns himself. The Taro are a competitive, honor-bound people, a trait which pours over into every facet of society, from the lowest gutter-bound beggar to the most powerful royal. The Taro are known to settle their disagreements in duels, traditionally fought with spears, which are an important holy symbol of the Turnarian Church. As such, knights retain a prestigious place in society, fighting for their empire, their king, or their lesser house, even as the battlefield has become dominated by firearms. While an empire ruled by the same emperor for half a millennium sounds stable, the truth is more complicated. For one, it's been at war with its northern neighbors of Minos for the better part of its existence. Not to mention the internal conflicts that the children and petty kings engage in, whether openly or in the shadows. Then there's those who worship the Colossi still, the cult of the 4 pillars, or Four Sons for short, who've been stirring up more and more trouble in the empire, but in Tafalay especially. Could a true rebellion be brewing? Perhaps that's why there are whispers that the Emperor wants to launch a final crusade to kill the Stone Man, once and for all. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface of this world, and I'm excited to keep going. If you liked what you saw, do subscribe for more. And if there's an aspect of my world you wish for me to dive deeper into, do let me know. I have another few videos lined up about the children of Manoel and the Four-Son perspective, exploring the history of the Colossi and all that. Thank you for watching the whole video, and yeah, hopefully you'll watch my next one too.